As the youngest daughter of the chairman of a leading South Korean conglomerate, this girl is forced to work as a sales assistant in a small supermarket. She even gets yelled at and has items thrown at her by customers, even though it's not her fault. Clearly, she's not the typical spoiled, arrogant young lady. Her name is Yoon Ha, a young woman who prefers the life of ordinary people. Although Yoon Ha outwardly possesses everything others envy, she has never felt loved in her family. She was even beaten by her older sister for wearing a white dress similar to hers. Even her mother treats Yoon Ha coldly, leaving her deeply hurt. Yoon Ha doesn't dare tell her family about her part-time job. She wants to be independent and leave this cold house. However, the supermarket sales are declining, and her superiors are constantly putting pressure on her and her colleagues. Nevertheless, the capabilities of director Chang-soo play a crucial role in this situation. He is also a young master from another wealthy family. Currently, Chang-soo is managing the group's supermarket chain, but the situation is not very promising. The branch Chang-soo is running could change hands at any time. Joon-ki is both Chang-soo's best friend and subordinate. Because Joon-ki was born into a poor family, he always dreamed of reaching the top of society. Therefore, Joon-ki has constantly strived to escape his impoverished life. Chang-soo has entrusted his best friend with the responsibility of developing the supermarket, while he himself plans to marry the youngest daughter of the Taejin group to consolidate his position. This girl's name is Ji, and she is a good friend of Yoon Ha. Ji is always cheerful and lively. Ji often encourages Yoon Ha whenever Yoon Ha faces difficulties. One day, Yoon Ha was arranged by her mother to go on a blind date with Chang-soo. However, Yoon Ha disliked the idea of an arranged marriage and devised a plan to sabotage the date. Yoon Ha's family was constantly embroiled in power struggles. Her eldest sister, Ye-won, and her brother, Kyung-jun, held the positions of vice presidents, constantly vying for the top position in the corporation. Meanwhile, a woman dressed in flamboyant clothes, feigning kindness, warned the wife to be wary of the president's mistress. However, she subtly mocked the wife, implying that she had no power beyond her title. The wife, feeling indignant, confronted the president, but instead, he berated her. He declared that he was the king of the house, and that if she wanted to live there, she had to obey him. Unable to tolerate it any longer, the wife declared that if he was the king, she was the queen. After saying this, she stormed off, leaving the president furious. At this moment, Yoon Ha was deliberately dressing rebelliously and wearing heavy makeup. Yoon Ha thought that if her blind date saw her like this, he would refuse to marry her. In the elevator, Joon-ki met Yoon Ha for the first time and was immediately impressed by this strong-willed girl. Joon-ki didn't expect that Yoon Ha was his best friend's blind date. As soon as he saw Yoon Ha approaching the table, Chang-soo thought she had sat in the wrong seat, but she introduced herself as Yoon Ha. Chang-soo guessed that Yoon Ha was deliberately dressed like this to ruin the blind date, but Chang-soo was determined not to let Yoon Ha achieve her goal. Chang-soo would tell his family that he really liked Yoon Ha. Because Chang-soo hated being used to satisfy others' desires, he wouldn't easily let Yoon Ha get away with it. Chang-soo told Yoon Ha to wait until he left before she went home, as he didn't want to be with her today. Yoon Ha wondered if he would tell his family that he wanted to marry her. Chang-soo denied it, saying he was just joking. While Yoon Ha was happy about this, Chang-soo poured water over her head and coldly walked away. Chang-soo also told his mother that the daughter of the Taejin group was mentally ill. Coincidentally, Chang-soo's best friend had just broken up with his wealthy girlfriend. After Joon-ki investigated her true family background, he realized she was no longer useful to him. Meanwhile, Yoon Ha shed tears of resentment. Yoon Ha felt extremely hurt by Chang-soo's humiliation. After removing her makeup and entering the elevator, Yoon Ha encountered Joon-ki again. Yoon Ha accidentally dropped her hair clip, and Joon-ki picked it up. At the charity party hosted by the Taejin group, the wives of the attendees constantly gossiped about Yoon Ha after their blind date. They even suggested that Yoon Ha wasn't their biological daughter. When Yoon Ha's mother arrived, Chang-soo's mother bluntly stated that Yoon Ha wasn't worthy of her son. However, Chang-soo simply disliked being manipulated and having to follow others' plans. Yet today, Yoon Ha was putting on a show in front of Chang-soo. At this point, Joon-ki revealed that he had broken up with his girlfriend. The real reason was that his ex-girlfriend came from a wealthy family, making her unattainable. After arguing with his wife, Chairman Jong cut off all financial support. Meanwhile, the wife's younger brother's company was facing difficulties. This company was heavily reliant on the Taejin group, so the brother kept asking his sister for favors, putting her in a very difficult position. Finally, Mrs. Min had to return to apologize to her husband. Immediately afterward, she asked Yoon Ha if she was dating another man. But before Yoon Ha could explain, her mother angrily slapped her. The mother said she felt disgusted seeing Yoon Ha's emotionless face even after being hit. However, that was just Yoon Ha's long suffering from her mother's coldness. Yoon Ha said that the first time her mother hit her, she cried a lot. The second time, Yoon Ha bowed her head and begged her mother to forgive her. By the fifth time, Yoon Ha only felt sadness. By the 10th time, Yoon Ha only knew how to obey her mother. But Yoon Ha's mother never changed. Hearing these words, the mother showed no pity for her daughter. She even blamed her daughter for only causing trouble. While Mrs. Min had endured so much humiliation that day, Yoon Ha said it wasn't her fault. The real reason is that after Yoon Ha's mother gave birth to her, her father had an affair. Therefore, Yoon Ha's mother vented all her anger on her daughter. Despite being the daughter of a wealthy family, Yoon Ha was not respected in her family. It turned out that a fortune teller had predicted that Yoon Ha's fate was bad and that she would drive away all the men in the house. Therefore, Yoon Ha's mother always believed that Yoon Ha was the reason her husband left her for another woman. The fortune teller also predicted that the youngest daughter had a very strong personality, so Mrs. Min had to restrain her. Otherwise, Mrs. Min would be overshadowed by Yoon Ha. That's why she had treated Yoon Ha coldly for so many years. Furthermore, she didn't give Yoon Ha any shares or positions in the company, simply because she feared it would affect her only son, Kyung-jun. Ji, still secretly in love with assistant Jun-ki, constantly seeks opportunities to approach him. Coincidentally, Yoon Ha encounters Jun-ki when she comes to see Ji. Jun-ki is surprised that the girl he met in the elevator is a close friend of his subordinate. Ji immediately introduces them, but Jun-ki doesn't bother to greet her and walks away. Yoon Ha angrily chases after Jun-ki, wanting to know if they knew each other before, given Jun-ki's attitude. Seeing Yoon Ha's reaction, Jun-ki returns her earlier greeting. He also reminds Yoon Ha to learn to control her emotions. Upon arriving home, Jun-ki sees his mother waiting for him. He feels sorry for his mother's hardships and always tries to escape poverty and take the best care of her. At this time, Yoon Ha and Ji are drinking together because Yoon Ha is once again at odds with her mother. Ji, unaware of Yoon Ha's true identity as a wealthy heiress, jokingly wondered if her friend wasn't actually her current mother's biological daughter. Yoon Ha also suspected they weren't related by blood, so she secretly had a DNA test done. The results brought tears to Yoon Ha's eyes. Despite being her biological mother, she treated only this one child cruelly. Ji then expressed her desire to marry a wealthy man, simply wanting a more comfortable life. She also said she admired wealthy, independent women, and even showed a picture of So-hyun, praising her profusely. However, Ji was unaware that this woman was Yoon Ha's older sister, and that this sister frequently bullied her younger sister. The next day, Kyung-jun proactively sought out Yoon Ha. Kyung-jun wants to teach Chang-soo a lesson for being rude to his sister. Meanwhile, Ji is looking for Jun-ki when Chang-soo accidentally sees her. When Jun-ki comes out, Ji shyly offers him a cake and a drink. Chang-soo quickly realizes Ji is trying to impress his best friend, but he thinks Ji isn't worthy of someone as talented as Jun-ki. Later, Chang-soo and Ji accidentally meet again at the supermarket. Chang-soo comments on the taste of the cake Ji made. Ji realizes he ate her cake and becomes extremely angry. Ji doesn't realize that the person in front of her is her boss. She even sarcastically remarks that Chang-soo is just an unemployed man and that he's lucky to have a wealthy friend like Jun-ki. Chang-soo is furious at Ji's words. Before he can chase after her, he receives a call from Kyung-jun. Kyung-jun arranges to meet Chang-soo at his office. However, Chang-soo didn't apologize. Instead, he said he had taught Yoon Ha a lesson. This disrespectful attitude enraged Kyung-jun, who immediately punched Chang-soo. While Yoon Ha was working at the supermarket, a Chinese customer needed assistance. Yoon Ha used her language skills to speak with the customer, which Jun-ki witnessed. Jun-ki was very impressed. Ji also came to Jun-ki's side and kept praising her friend. When Chang-soo returned to the supermarket, the manager bowed to him and even called him director in front of Ji. Chang-soo looked at Ji and gave a knowing smile. However, Ji pouted, showing her dislike for Chang-soo. Shortly after, Chang-soo discovered that Yoon Ha was working at his supermarket, so the two had a chance to talk outside. Chang-soo complained about being beaten by Yoon Ha's brother, but Yoon Ha not only didn't comfort him, but also said Chang-soo deserved it. At this point, Chang-soo changed the subject, asking why Yoon Ha worked there. Yoon Ha honestly replied that she really needed a job, but revealing her identity would be extremely inconvenient. Moreover, her best friend also worked there, so she hoped Chang-soo would pretend not to know anything. However, Chang-soo said that if Yoon Ha became his woman, he would agree to her request. Yoon Ha immediately said that she would rather quit her job. After saying that, Yoon Ha turned her back and left, ignoring Chang-soo. As soon as Yoon Ha went inside the supermarket, Ji anxiously asked her if she knew that hateful guy. Unintentionally, Chang-soo overheard this. He angrily stated that he was the director of the place, not some idle person like Ji described. Ji was quite surprised to hear this. She nodded in greeting to her superior. Chang-soo didn't bother to pursue the matter further and left. Meanwhile, Chairman Jong was at his mistress's house. Suddenly, he saw a news report on television. Reporters had discovered illegal overseas funds belonging to the pharmaceutical company where Ye-won was the director. The chairman, enraged, immediately returned to the company to confront his eldest daughter. Yoon Ha had also texted her brother to arrange a meeting at the villa. In the dressing room, Ji wondered if her friend had any connection with Chang-soo, so she checked Yoon Ha's clothes to see if they were expensive. When Ji confirmed they weren't, she sadly sat down, worried about Jun-ki. Having a friend who was also his superior must make things very difficult for Jun-ki. Compared to their last meeting, Ji noticed that Jun-ki seemed thinner. Although Ji liked Jun-ki very much, she was too shy to express her feelings. Seeing her friend like that, Yoon Ha proactively invited Jun-ki to have dinner with them. However, this unintentionally led Jun-ki to misunderstand that Yoon Ha liked him. Yoon Ha had to explain that she did it for Ji, but Jun-ki asked Yoon Ha what if he liked her. Yoon Ha was surprised and widened her eyes. Jun-ki reminded Yoon Ha not to meddle in other people's affairs anymore. That evening, Yoon Ha went to meet her brother as planned. The reason they had to be so cautious was because there were people always watching them. Suddenly, Yoon Ha wondered why her brother was so nice to her now. When they were younger, he never paid attention to her. Kyung-jun said that it might be because he had matured. After the divorce and many business failures, he had realized many things. In many cases, even when it wasn't his fault, he was always criticized. Perhaps that's why he sympathizes more with his youngest sister. Yoon Ha openly supports her brother in seizing power from their father. She also revealed to him that she has accumulated wealth from her own business. Furthermore, she has secretly bought back shares in the company. All the money her family gave her is not spent, but invested. And soon, that amount will reach her desired level. At that time, she will officially leave that cold house. Yoon Ha prefers an independent life, so she plans to open her own company with her best friend. Meanwhile, the prosecutor's office has seized all the documents of Taejin Pharmaceutical Company. They are also investigating affecting all employees, and even Chairman John is not exempt from responsibility. At the supermarket, a customer deliberately harassed Ji, even sarcastically remarking that Ji looked like a prostitute. Yoon Ha, seeing her best friend being bullied, immediately stepped in to defend her. The angry customer tried to hit Yoon Ha, but she dodged the blow. As a result, the customer lost her balance and fell to the ground. She then reported Yoon Ha and Ji to the police. Joon-ki quickly arrived at the police station to bail them out. However, Joon-ki demanded that Yoon Ha apologize to the customer. Yoon Ha immediately protested, saying it was clearly not her fault. Faced with Yoon Ha's determination, Joon-ki decided to fire her. He said Yoon Ha's meaningless self-respect was only for self-display and that she didn't need to come to work at the supermarket tomorrow. After saying this, Joon-ki turned to Ji and asked if she wanted to continue working. Ji was extremely confused and repeatedly begged her best friend to reconsider, but Yoon Ha remained unmoved. As a result, only Ji went to apologize to the client. Joon-ki then drove Yi home. In the car, she kept begging Joon-ki not to fire Yoon Ha, but he ignored her. Meanwhile, Yoon Ha texted her brother, asking him to help her resolve the lawsuit with the client. Midway through the journey, Ji suddenly asked Joon-ki to stop the car so she could go home by herself. At that moment, Chang-soo saw Yi-ji and chased after her. But when Yi-ji turned around, Chang-soo saw her sobbing. Chang-soo was quite surprised. He quickly approached and asked what was wrong. Ji tearfully asked Chang-soo if she looked like a prostitute. Afterward, the two went to a roadside bar to drink. When Ji started getting drunk, she was unsteady on her feet and talking nonsense. Chang-soo felt uneasy and wanted to take her home. At this point, So-hyun came to pick a fight with Yoon Ha. So-hyun thought Yoon Ha only knew how to cling to her brother. Yoon Ha didn't want to argue with her sister, so she tried to leave. However, So-hyun grabbed her hair and pulled her back. At this point, Yoon Ha couldn't take it anymore. Yoon Ha fought back and taught her sister a lesson. Afterwards, Yoon Ha messaged Kyung-jun, telling him not to worry about her request anymore because she had already been fired anyway. Then, Yoon Ha went to Ji's house to wait for her friend to come home. But Yoon Ha found her friend in Chang-soo's car. Yoon Ha immediately grabbed a brick to prepare to deal with this man. Seeing Ji crying hysterically, Yoon Ha thought Chang-soo had bullied her friend. Ji grabbed her best friend's hand and kept complaining. Ji even said that if there was a next life, they should be reborn as rich kids. The two kept pulling at each other in front of Chang-soo. He angrily opened the car door and got out, but unfortunately, Ji tore his shirt. Immediately afterward, Ji fainted. Afterward, Yoon Ha took her best friend back to her room and went out to meet Chang-soo. Chang-soo was always curious why Yoon Ha was hiding her true identity. Yoon Ha admitted that she did so because she wanted to find a man who truly loved her. However, Yoon Ha's mother kept urging her to marry into a suitable family to save the corporation. At that moment, Joon-ki called Yoon Ha because the other woman wanted to apologize. The woman was extremely remorseful. It turned out that her husband's company was on the verge of bankruptcy. Seeing her begging for forgiveness, Yoon Ha agreed to let it go. Yoon Ha also knew that her brother had interfered in this matter. However, Joon-ki didn't want to reinstate Yoon Ha, and Kyung-jun wanted his sister to handle the issue herself. Although reluctant, Yoon Ha had to ask Joon-ki to reinstate her. But Joon-ki disagreed. Suspecting Yoon Ha's family had done something to the customer, he even asked if she would use the same tactics against him. Yoon Ha naively said that someone born into a wealthy family like Joon-ki couldn't possibly understand her feelings. However, Yoon Ha was unaware that Joon-ki came from a poor family and had often. Joon-ki told Yoon Ha this story today to make her understand how valuable a job is. Yoon Ha finally understood and was therefore accepted back to work at the supermarket. But then she asked Ji why a man would suddenly reveal his secrets to a woman. Ji replied that perhaps the man liked the woman, which is why he did so. At the same time, Yoon Ha revealed to Ji that Joon-ki wasn't as wealthy as she thought. Joon-ki came from an ordinary family. This further boosted Ji's confidence, assuring her that she could overcome the wealth gap to be with Joon-ki. However, when Ji went to find Joon-ki, she encountered Chang-soo. Fearing he would make her pay for the shirt, she quickly hurried past. But Chang-soo called her back. Ji then feigned helplessness, saying that if she had to pay Chang-soo for the shirt, she would have to go hungry and be kicked out by the landlord. Chang-soo could only laugh at Ji's childish behavior. Chang-soo never intended to hold Ji accountable, so he let it go. He hoped Ji could repay him in some way. Unexpectedly, Ji bought instant coffee, leaving Chang-soo utterly disappointed. This woman kept talking non-stop. She looked poor and lacked knowledge, yet for some reason, Chang-soo felt a strong desire to be with her forever. Seeing Chang-soo muttering to himself, Ji thought he was mocking her, so she silently cursed him with disgust. Chang-soo told her to just say what she was thinking. She then called the director a scoundrel and added that Chang-soo had body odor. Hearing this, Chang-soo was extremely displeased. But when Ji complimented him on his good looks, Chang-soo smiled happily. Meanwhile, Kyung-jun had called his sister to talk. Kyung-jun said that after the prosecutor's investigation was complete, he would remove his sister from the corporation because he couldn't let someone as ambitious as his eldest sister continue to stay and threaten his position. However, Ye-won refused to accept being eliminated like that, so she sought out her father's mistress to gain an ally. Next, Ye-won accused Kyung-jun of deceiving her father. Ye-won even gave her father a USB drive as proof. Chairman Jong accepted the deal with Ye-won because he only needed someone who would benefit him. Immediately afterward, the father angrily summoned Kyung-jun to scold him for revealing a weakness to Ye-won. To punish his son, the father demanded that Kyung-jun go abroad, but Kyung-jun refused. This further enraged the chairman, who threw things at Kyung-jun. At this moment, Joon-ki's mother arrived at the supermarket and saw her son. She introduced herself to Yoon Ha as Joon-ki's mother. Taking this opportunity, Joon-ki wanted to invite his mother out for a meal, and she also wanted Yoon Ha to come along. mall. Suddenly, Joon-ki had an urgent matter to attend to, leaving the two of them alone. Despite having only recently met, Joon-ki's mother and Yoon Ha became very close. That evening, during a celebratory dinner, a superior officer forced Yoon Ha to pour him drinks. Seeing Yoon Ha's discomfort, Joon-ki poured the drinks for her. He even intentionally poured Yoon Ha a glass of water, knowing she couldn't drink alcohol. This action drew the attention of both Yoon Ha and Ji. Shortly after, Chang-soo arrived and announced he would treat everyone to a meal. Following that, they went to karaoke. Yoon Ha and Ji sang and danced under the watchful eyes of Joon-ki and Chang-soo. Outside, Yoon Ha sincerely thanked Joon-ki for his concern, but Joon-ki said he treated everyone the same. However, after turning away, Joon-ki secretly smiled. Ji was saddened by this expression, thinking Joon-ki had fallen for Yoon Ha. After careful consideration, Ji decided to end her feelings for Joon-ki. She would give him up to her best friend because she believed that Joon-ki didn't have feelings for her. Ji also sensed that Yoon Ha had feelings for Joon-ki, so she decided to let go of her unrequited love so her best friend could find happiness. When leaving, Ji even proactively offered to take Yoon Ha home while she went home alone. Unexpectedly, she met Chang-soo at her doorstep. The two went up to the rooftop to talk. Ji realized that Chang-soo had feelings for her, which was why he had come to find her. However, after knowing about Chang-soo's status as a wealthy tycoon, Ji felt very insecure and feared that both families would forbid their relationship. Ji didn't want to be in a relationship that couldn't lead to marriage. Ji emphasized that liking her was Chang-soo's freedom, but she asked him not to say he liked her because she would be smitten. Chang-soo was stunned by this, but no matter what, he was determined to win Ji's heart. After being fired, Ye-won angrily went to Kyung-jun's office. She believed her younger brother was incompetent and that everything Kyung-jun had was thanks to their parents. Kyung-jun only saw his sister always thinking she was talented, but in reality, without him, Ye-won would absolutely not have achieved anything. Hearing this, Ye-won could only angrily leave. Ye-won accidentally met Yoon Ha walking by. Yoon Ha entered and saw the chaotic scene. Her brother suddenly gave Yoon Ha a key in case he was in trouble, but Yoon Ha immediately refused. Afterwards, she and her brother went for a walk. She was very happy to tell her brother that she had found the person she liked, but currently, she still only has unrequited feelings and hasn't dared to confess. Kyung-jun encouraged his sister to tell him how she felt, because if a beautiful girl confessed first, surely no one would refuse. Meanwhile, Joon-ki knew Yoon Ha's true identity. He began to calculate in his mind, as this could be a valuable opportunity to change his destiny. The next day, Yoon Ha proactively brought lunch to Joon-ki's office. She planned to confess her feelings to him today, because she was going on a 2-week trip with her brother. And even if she was rejected, Yoon Ha wouldn't care too much, because this wasn't the first time she had been rejected. At this moment, Joon-ki saw the lunchbox Yoon Ha had given him. Inside, there was also a thank you letter from her. But when he met the letter's sender again, he casually walked past her. He went straight to Ji and asked about her future plans. He mentioned that someone had asked him to promote her. Ji said she wanted to become a contract employee at the supermarket, so Joon-ki encouraged her to work hard to achieve it. The person who suggested the promotion to Joon-ki was undoubtedly Chang-soo. So Ji arranged to meet Chang-soo on the rooftop to talk. Ji shared with Chang-soo that she felt guilty about being promoted at his request while she couldn't reciprocate his feelings. But Chang-soo immediately said that he didn't do it because he wanted her to reciprocate his feelings, but simply because he felt Ji's life was a little difficult. This statement unexpectedly hurt Ji even more. Ji said that she hoped Chang-soo would never do that again. Yoon Ha texted Joon-ki asking about the lunchbox. Joon-ki said it was delicious, so she took the opportunity to meet him and confess her feelings. Yoon Ha was incredibly nervous facing the person she liked. She admitted that her relationship with her family wasn't good and that she was only close to one person, her older brother. Yoon Ha didn't reveal her wealthy background, but she hoped Joon-ki would accept her. Joon-ki believed that men should take the initiative in confessing their feelings, so he told Yoon Ha that he was living in a mortgaged apartment and his average salary was $52,000. Joon-ki asked if Yoon Ha would like to date him. Yoon Ha happily accepted the confession, and they officially started dating. Soon after, Yoon Ha told her best friend that she had succeeded. The two girls were incredibly excited. Joon-ki texted Yoon Ha, making her so happy that she giggled. The next day, Yoon Ha was overjoyed to see her brother. Kyung-jun knew his sister had successfully confessed her feelings, so he decided to go abroad first to give her time with her boyfriend. Yoon Ha then packed her bags and went to find Joon-ki. They had lunch together. Joon-ki noticed a grain of rice stuck on Yoon Ha's mouth and proactively removed it for her, making her blush. He also told her to feel free to eat whatever she wanted while they were together, and that she didn't need to maintain any image in front of him. That evening, they walked hand in hand, making Yoon Ha incredibly happy. However, a disaster struck the Jang family. Kyung-jun's yacht unexpectedly sank in Mexico, and his whereabouts were unknown. Mrs. Min was shocked by the news. She immediately called Yoon Ha, knowing that Yoon Ha had been on the trip with her brother, but she heard that Yoon Ha was still in Korea. She immediately screamed in anger. Yoon Ha, worried, rushed home, but Yoon Ha's mother coldly asked where Yoon Ha's brother was and why only Yoon Ha was a survivor. She even accused Yoon Ha of harming her brother. Immediately after saying this, she lunged at her youngest daughter, repeatedly hitting her. The mother even cursed her daughter, telling her to follow her son. Yoon Ha blamed herself deeply. She thought she was truly a jinx, bringing bad luck to those around her. Therefore, Yoon Ha erased everything related to Joon-ki so that he wouldn't suffer the same fate as her brother. After Kyung-jun's accident, Taejin Group's stock plummeted. Therefore, the chairman appointed his eldest daughter, Ye-won, to the top of the inheritance list. Mrs. Min was furious to see her husband and daughters comfortably eating, while Kyung-joon had just passed away. So she cleared all the food from the table so no one could eat anymore. Because he hadn't received a message from Yoon Ha, Joon-ki texted her to check on her, but Yoon Ha could only delete all contact with Joon-ki. At this time, the corporation was in great need of manpower, so the chairman called Yoon Ha in to appoint her to a position. Chang-soo's mother also knew that Chairman John would put his youngest daughter on the inheritance list, so she urged Chang-soo to contact Yoon Ha again. Joon-ki, walking beside them, overheard this and began to ponder something. When Chang-soo called Yoon Ha, Joon-ki was right next to him. Yoon Ha said that she was about to conclude something important, even though she was very sad. Yoon Ha hesitated, wondering if she should call Joon-ki to say goodbye. Yoon Ha recalled happy memories with Joon-ki and felt incredibly heartbroken. At times like these, she only wanted to see him and lean on his shoulder for comfort. Finally, she decided to call Joon-ki to arrange a meeting to talk. Coincidentally, when Yoon Ha and Ji arrived at the company, they ran into Chang-soo and Joon-ki in the elevator. However, Yoon Ha didn't dare face Joon-ki. Yoon Ha continued to be sad until Joon-ki pulled her aside to talk. Yoon Ha asked who should initiate a breakup, the man or the woman. Joon-ki said that the one who wants to break up first should. Yoon Ha tried to hold back her tears and said goodbye to him. At this moment, Yoon Ha felt she no longer needed to hide her identity, so she revealed to Joon-ki that she was the youngest daughter of the chairman of the Taejin group. But now that her beloved older brother had passed away, she feared that those who loved her would be hurt, so she decided to end her relationship with Joon-ki. However, Joon-ki said that misfortune is a choice one makes, so Yoon Ha doesn't need to bear the burden of others' misfortunes. Hearing these words, Yoon Ha felt incredibly relieved. She hugged Joon-ki and admitted that she missed him very much. Yoon Ha cried incessantly and begged Joon-ki never to leave her. Joon-ki then gave Yoon Ha a sweet kiss. Finally, Yoon Ha calmed down. She promised never to hide anything from her boyfriend again. Now, Yoon Ha really wanted to eat noodles, so Joon-ki invited her to his house so he could cook them for her himself. After receiving the comforting gift from her husband's mistress, Mrs. Min immediately became furious. Mrs. Min and her subordinates went to the mistress's house to teach her a lesson. Now, Mrs. Min didn't want to tolerate anyone anymore, so she slapped her husband's mistress in the face. Then Mrs. Min threatened the other woman, telling her not to be arrogant towards her anymore, because now she had nothing left to lose, not even her most beloved son. Next, Mrs. Min ruthlessly destroyed the other woman's gifts, leaving her terrified and clutching her head. Meanwhile, Ji brought watercress to Chang-soo's office as requested, but Chang-soo didn't care about the watercress. He only wanted to convince Ji to date him. After all, dating didn't necessarily mean marriage. They had no particular reason not to be together. Ji listened to Chang-soo's explanation and found it reasonable, so she finally agreed to date him. At this time, Ye-won discovered that Yoon Ha held shares in the corporation. Moreover, these shares were bought for Yoon Ha by Kyung-joon. There are also rumors that Kyung-joon has transferred his shares to Yoon Ha. Furthermore, at the next meeting, Yoon Ha might be appointed as the regional planning director for China. But Ye-won doesn't care about the rumors because she already looks down on her sister's abilities. The fact that Chang-soo and Joon-ki are dating a part-time employee was reported to a man by his assistant. He is Min-soo, Chang-soo's older brother. Min-soo really wants to know what kind of family background his younger brother is dating, so he had someone investigate. Meanwhile, Chang-soo took Ji to the shopping mall because he wanted to buy gifts for his girlfriend. He bought many things for her, but it was Ji who ended up carrying all the bags. Next, he took her to a Japanese restaurant. The head chef even praised his new girlfriend, saying she was much prettier than the girls he had brought there before. Chang-soo felt very satisfied. At this time, Yoon Ha was at her boyfriend's house when she suddenly felt sleepy. Yoon Ha hadn't been able to sleep well for a long time. Even sleeping pills didn't work. Seeing this, Joon-ki took his girlfriend to his room to rest, while he went to prepare dinner for her. Later, Chang-soo brought Ji home. But Ji felt she should return to reality, so she returned all the things Chang-soo had bought for her. Ji had only been curious about the feeling of shopping to her heart's content once. She never thought she would cling to Chang-soo to satisfy her material needs. Ji even bluntly broke up with Chang-soo. As soon as she finished speaking, Ji immediately left, but Chang-soo chased after her and stopped her. Chang-soo asked if Ji was taking advantage of him, because what Chang-soo hated most was being taken advantage of. Suddenly, Ji told Chang-soo to lower his head, and she unexpectedly kissed him. Chang-soo, stunned, asked Ji what she meant by that. Ji shyly said that she didn't want to like Chang-soo, but because he was so adorable, she had fallen for him. Chang-soo looked at Ji with gentle eyes, then gave her a sweet kiss. Meanwhile, Yoon Ha had woken up after a good night's sleep. Dinner was ready for her. Joon-ki said he would take Yoon Ha home after dinner, but Yoon Ha didn't want to go back, because whether she went home or not, no one cared anyway. So Joon-ki took her to buy some personal items. Then Yoon Ha insisted on paying because she wanted to save money for her boyfriend. Back home, Chang-soo kept smiling happily, remembering how Ji had complimented him on being adorable. Later, Mrs. Jung came to see her son because she had arranged a blind date for Chang-soo with the daughter of a wealthy family. She wanted Chang-soo to marry someone suitable, not a poor girl who was only after money. But Chang-soo believed that there were girls who, despite their humble backgrounds, were still honest and kind. Later, Chang-soo texted to ask if his girlfriend was asleep, but Ji was afraid that she would fall even more in love with Chang-soo and end up suffering, so she tried to block his number. Unexpectedly, before Ji could do anything, Chang-soo called. She answered and stammered that she missed him very much. Therefore, Chang-soo personally came to see Ji. Meanwhile, Joon-ki and Yoon Ha were romantically riding bicycles together, looking incredibly happy. Chang-soo had come to see Ji only because she said she missed him. Ji remarked that Chang-soo's hands were very large, so Chang-soo tentatively placed his his hand on her small, pretty face. Ji also tried placing her hand on his face to see what it felt like. Not only that, she said she really wanted another kiss, so he gave her a kiss. When she hugged him tightly, his ears suddenly turned bright red. She was even more delighted and wanted to touch his ears. Earlier, Junki had accidentally said that he had lied, so Yoon Ha wondered what it was, because Yoon Ha really hated lies. However, Junki said he was just joking. Junki even asserted that everyone in life has lied at some point, so Yoon Ha shouldn't worry too much. Then he changed the subject and asked about her next plans. Yoon Ha replied that she would go out and start her own cosmetics company. Junki was really puzzled that someone born into such advantageous circumstances like Yoon Ha would give up all those advantages. He thought she lacked experience to dare say that. Yoon Ha asked him if he already had experience. Junki simply replied that he hadn't yet, but things were improving. Yoon Ha didn't know that approaching her was the crucial first step towards Junki's dream. The next morning, the entire Jang family sat down for breakfast, but Yoon Ha was nowhere to be seen. Chairman Jang instructed the butler to go upstairs and call Yoon Ha down. Only then did they realize the young lady wasn't home. Chairman Jang then called Yoon Ha. Yoon Ha told her father that she would be returning. Yoon Ha wanted to say goodbye to Junki, but he wasn't there. At that moment, Junki had gone to meet a reporter friend and revealed that the youngest daughter of the Taejin group was working at a supermarket. Yoon Ha called, urging Junki to come home quickly because she was very hungry. Unexpectedly, when Junki returned, he found a full breakfast she had prepared. Junki was quite surprised that a young lady like Yoon Ha knew how to cook. He moved closer to her, making her think he was going to kiss her, but it turned out he only wanted to turn off the stove. Yoon Ha proactively hugged her boyfriend tightly from behind. She even asked him why they had become so close so quickly, why they trusted each other so easily. Yoon Ha's honest and innocent words made Junki feel guilty. He could only gently remove her hands and change the subject. The next day, Chairman Jang told his subordinates that at the upcoming meeting, he would appoint Yoon Ha as the regional planning director for China. He also knew that Kyung-jun had bought shares for Yoon Ha and that Yoon Ha was working part-time outside. Later, Yewon informed her parents that she was about to divorce because her family was unhappy. Yewon wanted to move into the villa where Kyung-jun lived to be closer to her parents, but her mother adamantly disagreed. She said that place belonged only to her son, so she wouldn't allow anyone else to set foot there. After saying that, she immediately left, leaving Yewon feeling very hurt. Yewon met with her mother privately and begged her to agree with her. Yewon also felt that her mother only favored her younger brother, seemingly only considering Kyung-jun as her son. Only when the other children were gone would she pay attention to them. Yewon spoke angrily, her resentment making Mrs. Min reconsider. Afterwards, Yewon went to look for Yoon Ha, but she only found So-hyun there. Yewon was surprised that her younger sister was still living so calmly as if nothing had happened. Therefore, Yewon revealed to So-hyun that Kyun had secretly bought shares for Yoon Ha, and that Yoon Ha's departure from home must have a reason. At this moment, So-hyun remembered that Yoon Ha had once told her that once Yoon Ha was fully prepared, she would definitely leave this house. Yewon and So-hyun both suspected that Yoon Ha had prepared something, so they began to be wary of her. Meanwhile, Yoon Ha had also decided to officially move out of the house and into a villa registered in her name. On the other side, Ji was summoned to the CEO's office, making her extremely anxious. Min-soo glanced at Ji from head to toe. While Ji feared the CEO would prevent her relationship with Chang-soo, she was surprised that he wholeheartedly supported their relationship. Min-soo even said he would remove everything that stood in their way. Min-soo even said that it wouldn't matter if Ji got pregnant with his younger brother's child first. While Yoon Ha was going to resign from her job, she overheard that her best friend was dating Chang-soo. Therefore, Yoon Ha immediately went to talk to Chang-soo. Yoon Ha worried that if Ji dated a wealthy man like Chang-soo, her friend would be the one hurt in the end. However, Chang-soo seriously affirmed that he genuinely liked Ji. Yoon Ha then mentioned that Min-soo had called Ji to his private office for a talk, and the whole company was buzzing with rumors about their relationship. Therefore, no matter what, Yoon Ha would protect her friend to the end. Afterward, Yoon Ha curiously asked Ji why she was dating the CEO, even though she knew he wasn't a good person. Ji said that she knew he wasn't good and had tried hard not to like him, but ultimately, she couldn't resist her feelings. Ji also said that she had given Junki up to Yoon Ha, so she hoped her best friend would support her love. Yoon Ha couldn't bear to stand in the way of Ji's happiness, so she agreed to help them get together. At this moment, Yoon Ha also revealed that she was the daughter of the Taejin group. However, Ji was only focused on her boyfriend's call. Ji thought Yoon Ha was joking and rushed to Chang-soo's side. Innocently, Ji said that after meeting Chang-soo's brother, she felt much more confident, and that even if they broke up, it wouldn't matter because it was better than getting married and then divorcing. Chang-soo felt so guilty towards Ji that his eyes welled up with tears. He was sad that he couldn't do anything for her. Meanwhile, Yoon Ha told Junki that she would move in with him. Because Ji had suffered humiliation from Chang-soo's brother, she didn't want her boyfriend to be treated the same way by her family. Yoon Ha also promised that she would never let Chang-soo be humiliated by her family. Meanwhile, Chang-soo arrives to see his brother with an angry expression. Chang-soo knows his brother's true intentions in meeting Ji, so he tells him that Ji is just one of his options. Therefore, Chang-soo will go on a blind date with the daughter of the Jinwon group. If that doesn't work out, Chang-soo will rekindle his relationship with Yoon Ha. It turns out Min-soo fears his younger brother will gain support from his wife's family, so he constantly tries to prevent him from marrying wealthy heiresses. However, Min-soo pretends to be very disappointed in his brother and manager Junki because both are dating part-time employees. Before Before Chang-soo can understand, Min-soo confirms again that Joon-ki is dating Ji's friend, meaning Joon-ki is dating Yoon Ha. Chang-soo was utterly astonished upon hearing this. He immediately called Joon-ki to talk privately. Only then did Chang-soo realize the look in their eyes and the phone call in the car. Chang-soo was certain his friend was indeed dating the youngest daughter of the Taejin group. However, when Joon-ki arrived, Chang-soo didn't expose the affair. He only asked Joon-ki for advice on how to deal with his brother. To prove Min-soo's infidelity, they would need to investigate his corporate credit card, as Min-soo often used it when dating women. Chang-soo asked Joon-ki if he had anything to tell him, but in the end, Joon-ki still wanted to keep the relationship a secret. Meanwhile, Chairman Jang had gone to his mistress's house to rest, but she immediately complained about being scolded by his wife. Feeling too bothered, the chairman decided to end the relationship. He then summoned Yoon Ha to his office, announcing that he had prepared everything and his daughter could start working next week. But Yoon Ha refused because she wanted to be independent. The chairman allowed that, but at the same time, he demanded that his daughter return all the allowances she had received so far. Of course, Yoon Ha agreed. Yoon Ha also revealed that she had fallen in love with a man and didn't want him to become a member of this cold family. As for Chang-soo, he went to the blind date at his mother's request, but he flatly rejected the young lady. Yoon Ha returned to Joon-ki's house. Unexpectedly, Yoon Ha met Joon-ki's mother there. Joon-ki's mother also recognized the two of them dating. Yoon Ha said that she had come back to wash the dishes and would leave immediately because she felt guilty for eating without cleaning up. Yoon Ha also feared that Joon-ki's mother would misunderstand that she had spent the night with her son, so Yoon Ha quickly explained that nothing had happened between them. At this time, the media reported that the youngest daughter of the Taejin group was working part-time at a supermarket, and this news quickly became the hottest search term online. The chairman not only didn't stop it, but also exploited the situation to boost the company's sales. He also ordered an investigation into the person who wrote the article and Yoon Ha's boyfriend. Meanwhile, Chang-soo took Ji to an amusement park. Ji also read the news that Yoon Ha was the daughter of a wealthy conglomerate, and she was extremely surprised. She was even more astonished that Chang-soo had gone on a blind date with Yoon Ha and kept it a secret from her. Therefore, Ji angrily left. Chang-soo, feeling sad, drank to drown his sorrows. Chang-soo immediately called Joon-ki to come with him. Therefore, Joon-ki had to skip his meal with his mother and Yoon Ha to go to Chang-soo. At this point, Joon-ki said a series of cryptic and confusing things. Joon-ki was immediately startled. Unexpectedly, Yoon Ha appeared, making the atmosphere awkward. Chang-soo immediately said that he was the one who called her and wanted to ask if they were dating. Joon-ki frankly admitted it, but Chang-soo acted as if nothing had happened. Chang-soo only pretended to scold Joon-ki for only telling him now. Yoon Ha curiously asked Joon-ki what the article was about. Only now did Yoon Ha find out that her secret part-time job had been reported in the newspaper. She was curious who had revealed it. Joon-ki thought that the secret being exposed might actually be good, as it could further enhance Yoon Ha's position in the corporation. However, Yoon Ha didn't care about that, because she had already declared that from now on, she would work independently from her father. Yoon Ha also greatly admired Joon-ki for the good relationship between him and his mother. As someone who didn't have a mother's love, Yoon Ha truly envied that. Yoon Ha was worried because Ji was angry with her, so she went to see her best friend. Despite her sister calling, Yoon Ha didn't answer. Her sister was angry, while her mother remained completely unresponsive. Only when Sohun mentioned that Kyung-jun had bought shares for Yoon Ha did Mrs. Min become agitated and asked for an explanation. She immediately sent someone to call Yoon Ha back, but Yoon Ha didn't answer. Mrs. Min suspected that Yoon Ha had discovered some secret of her brother. Furthermore, tomorrow was the day Kyung-jun's will was to be announced. Yewon worried that her brother might leave all his assets to Yoon Ha, even appointing Yoon Ha as his heir. So Hyun found it strange that a healthy man like Kyung-jun would prepare a will so early, as if he had planned everything in advance. When Yoon Ha went to see Ji, she found her friend drunk. Heartbroken, she apologized to Ji for hiding her true identity. But Ji didn't blame Yoon Ha at all. She only blamed herself for being so foolish. When Yoon Ha and Chang-soo recognized each other at the supermarket, Ji should have realized it too. Ji also felt very sad that she wasn't a wealthy heiress like Yoon Ha. Ji really wanted to go on a blind date with Chang-soo, publicly date him, and marry him. But in the end, Ji could only date, not marry. However, Ji also sympathized with Yoon Ha. Ji knew it was very difficult for Yoon Ha to live a life that others envied. Hearing these words, Yoon Ha's eyes suddenly welled up with tears. Because her mother had never loved her, her mother never hit or scolded anyone, but always used violence against Yoon Ha. Yoon Ha always felt extremely lonely in her own home. Yoon Ha wept bitterly, saying that although her mother had always emotionally abused her, she always sympathized with her mother and couldn't hate her. Ji tenderly wiped away her friend's tears. Yoon Ha said that she was very difficult to open up to, but for some reason, she easily trusted Ji. After the two reconciled after talking, Yoon Ha called Chang-soo to meet Ji. Earlier, Chang-soo had met Joon-ki's ex-girlfriend. She warned Chang-soo to be careful with Joon-ki because she had been dumped by him for not being rich enough. At that moment, Chang-soo received Yoon Ha's message and went to Ji's house. Coincidentally, Chang-soo met Joon-ki waiting outside, and the two had a frank conversation. Chang-soo truly didn't know if the person in front of him was the same as he usually saw her. Joon-ki immediately denied all of Chang-soo's suspicions, asserting that he was still the same as before. Afterwards, Chang-soo went to the rooftop to find Ji. Later, Joon-ki arrived. Yoon Ha went to where Joon-ki was sitting and started acting spoiled. Ji also tried to act spoiled with Chang-soo, but he told her to go inside and sleep. After everyone left, he apologized and hugged her. As soon soon as Yoon Ha returned home, her mother called her in for a talk. She asked what Kyung-jun had said when he left Yoon Ha at the airport. Yoon Ha said that Kyung had said it was a gift for her to take a week off with the man she was dating. Mrs. Min was furious when she heard that Yoon Ha had a boyfriend and had even spent the night at his house. But Yoon Ha said that she was old enough to be independent now and wanted to decide her own life. Therefore, Yoon Ha planned to marry Jun-ki and build a happy family. Yoon Ha's mother became even more enraged after hearing this. She revealed that Kyung-jun had bought shares for Yoon Ha. Yoon Ha was utterly astonished. She truly didn't know about these things, but her mother didn't believe her and even insulted her, saying that her brother's fate was still unknown, and yet she had run away with a man. Yoon Ha's mother also said that her father wouldn't easily let her move out like that because the corporation desperately needed her. Yoon Ha was extremely curious why her brother would do this, so she remembered his instructions. Kyung-jun had said that if anything happened to him, she should use that key, so Yoon Ha rushed to her brother's villa to find the key. Unexpectedly, she met her eldest sister there. Yoon Ha had to pretend to return with her sister, but then Yoon Ha sneaked into the office to look for the key. However, she searched and searched, but couldn't find it. The next day, the chairman investigated and discovered Jun-ki's humble background. Therefore, he immediately called Yoon Ha to talk to him. He asked Yoon Ha to come to the company to work, and surprisingly, Yoon Ha agreed right away. Afterward, the lawyer announced Kyung-jun's will. Kyung-jun left all his assets to his daughter, and his mother was designated as the guardian. When Mrs. Min returned to her room, she saw Yoon Ha still waiting for her. Yoon Ha said she would be returning home to investigate her brother's accident, and she hoped they would get along well. Next, Yoon Ha informed Jun-ki that she would no longer be moving into his house, but in return, they would have a double date today. Yoon Ha even sent a luxury car to pick up Ji-hee, making Ji extremely excited. Then, Yoon Ha took her best friend to the fitting room. The two of them prepared themselves beautifully for the party. Yoon Ha didn't expect the key to be left on her dressing table. Two beautiful girls got out of the car, much to the surprise of their boyfriends. They intimately linked arms and walked into the club, dancing happily. Meanwhile, Ye-won investigated Yoon Ha's boyfriend. Ye-won ordered her assistant to publish the news with the media. The assistant then went to Jun-ki's parents to ask them to persuade him to work for the company, but Jun-ki's parents refused. At another point, a reporter suddenly contacted Chan-soo, claiming Jun-ki had revealed a lot of information to him, which aroused Chan-soo's suspicion. Chan-soo immediately had someone investigate who wrote the article about Yoon Ha. The next day, everyone went to the beach together, followed by a barbecue. When Yoon Ha and Chan-soo went inside to get wine, Yoon Ha said she wanted white wine because she didn't want to leave a red stain on her lips. Yoon Ha didn't want to tarnish her image in front of Jun-ki. Chang-soo, seeing that Yoon Ha had never dated anyone other than Jun-ki, reminded her not to pour all her feelings into it. But Yoon Ha said that if she didn't give her all, what was the point of dating? Seeing her stubbornness, Chang-soo stopped trying to persuade her. During the meal, Chan-soo reminded Ji to change how she addressed him. From now on, Ji shouldn't call Chan-soo director anymore, but Oppa. This intimate form of address suddenly reminded Yoon Ha of her brother, causing her to cry. Seeing this, Jun-ki took Yoon Ha for a walk to help her calm down. The current assets of Kyung-jun, if transferred to his daughter, would incur significant taxes, so Chairman Jang used the excuse that Kyung-jun's body hadn't been found to avoid registering his death. In that case, the chairman could find someone to temporarily manage the assets for 5 years. Currently, the guardian according to the will is Mrs. Min. If she relinquishes her guardianship, it will be transferred to Chairman Jang. On this side, Ye-won is also thinking of ways to win her mother over to her side, because Mrs. Min and Kyung-jun's combined shares amount to 19%. Yoon Ha continues to cry and blame herself for abandoning her brother that day, and then her brother had an accident. Jun-ki lifted Mrs. Min up and gave her a kiss to help her forget her sadness. At the same time, Chang-soo received news that the person who wrote the article about Yoon Ha was Jun-ki. Therefore, Chang-soo knew that Jun-ki had deceived Yoon Ha. Jun-ki only approached her because he knew Yoon Ha's wealthy background. When Jun-ki returned, Chang-soo asked when Jun-ki knew that Miss Yoon Ha and the supermarket employee Yoon Ha were the same person. Jun-ki cautiously asked why his friend wanted to know that. Chang-soo replied that he only thought someone as intelligent as Jun-ki would have connected the two events from the beginning. Jun-ki wondered why Chang-soo didn't expose him if that were the case. Chang-soo said that Jun-ki was only taking advantage of Yoon Ha's feelings and even pretending to be a good friend to him. Jun-ki also frankly stated that he was only showing Chang-soo the person Chang-soo wanted to see. Hearing this, Chang-soo angrily punched Jun-ki, and the two immediately started fighting. The two girls panicked and quickly tried to separate them. Afterwards, Jun-ki drove Yoon Ha home. Yoon Ha was very worried about what had happened, but Jun-ki changed the subject. Jun-ki asked if Yoon Ha wanted to do anything else. Yoon Ha said she wanted to go to an art exhibition, so Jun-ki agreed. Then Yoon Ha invited Ji to her house. Yoon Ha wanted to offer her best friend a job at her company because she valued Ji's character. For Yoon Ha, having a kind heart was far more valuable than academic qualifications. Furthermore, the branch Yoon Ha was in charge of was in the cosmetics business, which was a perfect fit for Ji. However, Ji was hesitant and asked Yoon Ha for time to think. Meanwhile, Chang-soo returned home exhausted. His mother suddenly asked if he was dating a part-time employee. Chang-soo was in a terrible mood. He didn't want to explain much to his mother, so he asked her to leave him alone. As soon as his mother left, Chang-soo angrily threw his shirt down. He kept recalling his memories with his friend Jun-ki. Now he realized it was all just exploitation. Chang-soo hated being exploited. On the other side, Jun-ki's mother showed him a recruitment business card from the Taejin group. She felt that the assistant had lied from the beginning, so he was definitely not a good person. But Joon-ki didn't respond to his mother because he had other thoughts in his head. When Joon-ki and Yoon Ha went to see the exhibition, they were photographed by reporters without realizing it. Afterwards, Yoon Ha informed her boyfriend that she was going to work at the company and would be a little busy. She also took the opportunity to ask if he had reconciled with Chang-soo, but Joon-ki said it wasn't necessary. Just then, Chang-soo called. But when Chang-soo heard Joon-ki say that Yoon Ha was also there, he said he would call back later. That night, Mrs. Min, drunk and angry, came to see her husband. She accused him of being a cruel man, that he had never shed a tear for his son, but now he was asking for her help because of the inheritance. Therefore, Mrs. Min proposed a divorce to the chairman. She felt she couldn't live with him anymore. She had thought about this decision many times before, but only now had she made it. Because she hated him so much, she couldn't bear it anymore. The next day, there was a document that needed the director's approval urgently, but Joon-ki couldn't contact Chang-soo. It seemed that Chang-soo had blocked Joon-ki's phone number, so Joon-ki went directly to Chang-soo's office. At this point, Chang-soo clearly drew a line between them. Chang-soo said that Joon-ki was just an assistant, and Joon-ki wasn't allowed to directly bring documents to the director, so he asked Joon-ki to follow the company's reporting rules next time. However, Chang-soo then allowed Joon-ki to talk to him as a friend. Joon-ki immediately accused Chang-soo of not truly considering him a friend, but Chang-soo only gave Joon-ki a contemptuous look and told him to leave. Joon-ki said that Chang-soo really didn't understand his suffering. Chang-soo replied that it was precisely because he understood that he didn't say anything. Joon-ki turned to leave, but as he stepped into the elevator, he felt something strange. The staff kept pointing and whispering behind his back. Joon-ki immediately called his reporter friend. Only then did he know that news of him and Yoon Ha dating was spreading online. Previously, the secretary, on behalf of the chairman, requested Joon-ki to break up with Yoon Ha. In return, the chairman would give Joon-ki anything. However, Joon-ki immediately refused because his feelings for Yoon Ha were genuine. The secretary then asked if Joon-ki was the one who leaked the news to the reporter. Joon-ki continued to deny it, saying that the leak wouldn't benefit him at all. Shortly after, CEO Soo-min summoned Joon-ki for a meeting. Soo-min said that befriending the daughter of the Taejin group was extremely beneficial to both sides, so she demanded that Joon-ki keep Yoon Ha at all costs. At the same time, So-hyun angrily brought the newspaper article to Yoon Ha, but Yoon Ha was only worried that Joon-ki would be shocked by the news. So-hyun believed that the man was only dating her sister because of Yoon Ha's wealthy family background, but Yoon Ha believed Joon-ki truly loved her because at the time they met, Joon-ki didn't know Yoon Ha was the daughter of the Taejin group. Meanwhile, the wife, now sober, deeply regretted what she had said the previous night. She wanted to go see the chairman to apologize, but before she left, the housekeeper reported the news about Kyung-jun and Yoon Ha to her. Because of last night's incident, the chairman had fired the housekeeper. Previously, the chairman had warned that if the wife continued drinking, the housekeeper would be held responsible. Later, Yoon Ha texted Joon-ki to arrange a meeting about the article. At the same time, Soo-min went to see Chang-soo. Soo-min wanted to ask about the article alleging the CEO used a company credit card for personal expenses. Soo-min wanted to know if Chang-soo was the one who spread the rumor. Even though it was indeed Chang-soo who ordered the attack, he pretended not to know anything to spite his brother. Immediately after the news broke, Min-soo's father and wife both called him to question him. That afternoon, Chang-soo went out to eat with Ji-yi. However, Chang-soo was in a bad mood all day, which worried Ji-yi greatly. But no matter how much Ji-yi asked, Chang-soo refused to answer. Chang-soo changed the subject and asked Ji-yi where she wanted to go. Ji-yi excitedly replied that she wanted to go shopping for new clothes because she was about to start working at Yoon Ha's company. Chang-soo immediately objected when he heard that Ji-yi would be working for her best friend, fearing that they would end up in the same situation as him and Joon-ki. He even told her she didn't need to work and that he would give her money to spend. But Ji-yi said that Yoon Ha genuinely wanted to help her as a friend. Yoon Ha even paid her a very high salary because treating a friend as just a subordinate would deeply hurt them. Despite Ji's explanation, Chang-soo remained silent, causing her to angrily leave. Chang-soo quickly chased after her and stopped her, but Ji had tolerated too much from him lately. Chang-soo going on blind dates while dating had deeply hurt Ji. If they didn't share the same views, the only option was to break up. Finally, Ji left in disappointment. Meanwhile, the chairman asked Yoon Ha to break up with her boyfriend, but Yoon Ha defied her father. Yoon Ha knew her father needed her abilities right now, so she was sure he would give in. Yoon Ha hoped her father would approve of her relationship because she was truly happy with Joon-ki. After Yoon Ha left, her mother went to see her father. The chairman immediately became angry, scolding his wife for not resolving the asset management issue by now. He also blamed her for not raising their daughter properly, allowing news of their daughter's dating to leak out. Mrs. Min was also furious. She said that if she couldn't do it, then he should. She said this while completely sober because she could no longer tolerate her husband. Butler Hong was the person Mrs. Min's father had sent to accompany her when she went to her husband's house. But now the chairman had arbitrarily dismissed her person. This had pushed Mrs. Min to the limit. She cursed the chairman as a cruel man, even calculating his own interests with his children. At this moment, she officially declared that she would divorce her husband and vowed to destroy his entire business empire. At the same time, Chang-soo's mother called Chang-soo over to scold him. Because Chang-soo had disobeyed his mother from the beginning, he had befriended Joon-ki. Now Chang-soo had been betrayed by him. Chang-soo remained silent until his mother mentioned Ji-yi. Chang-soo immediately reacted and demanded that his mother not touch her. Yoon Ha was overjoyed to finally find the key on the dressing table. Her brother had previously revealed the location of the safe to her, so Yoon Ha went to his villa. Kyung-jun hadn't even hidden the password from Yoon Ha. Yoon Ha opened the safe and found a suitcase. She opened it and discovered many banknotes and a USB drive inside. Immediately, Yoon Ha took everything back and stored it in her own safe. Just then, Ji called to invite Yoon Ha shopping because she had just argued with Chang-soo. Meanwhile, Joon-ki met with Ye-won's assistant. The assistant said that after learning about Joon-ki, Ye-won was very satisfied with his abilities and wanted to invite him to work at the company. Joon-ki then asked Ye-won if she wanted to work with him or if she had a new area she needed to take over. Because Joon-ki understood that Ye-won was trying to compete with Yoon Ha, she was probing him. Joon-ki wouldn't act without thorough preparation. His assistant relayed this to Ye-won. It seemed Joon-ki would accept their offer if they offered favorable conditions. While Ji and Yoon Ha were shopping, they spotted a beautiful watch, which Yoon Ha bought for her boyfriend. Just then, Chang-soo's mother suddenly requested a meeting with Ji, making her very nervous. Chang-soo also decided to meet with Yoon Ha to tell her the whole truth. Chang-soo asked if Yoon Ha really thought Joon-ki liked her. What if Joon-ki approached Yoon Ha for other reasons? Yoon Ha denied it, saying she was the one who had approached Joon-ki first. Before Chang-soo could say anything more, Yoon Ha realized she was late for her date with her boyfriend and hurriedly left. At the same time, Joon-ki's mother knew that Yoon Ha was the daughter of a wealthy conglomerate, and she became extremely worried. She knew her son wasn't worthy of Yoon Ha. Meanwhile, Yoon Ha gave Joon-ki the watch she had just bought. Afterward, Yoon Ha apologized to him because she was the reason he was misunderstood and gossiped about. Yoon Ha also revealed that she had found the shares and USB drive left behind by her brother. Her brother's secret purchase of shares for Yoon Ha should have been reported to the company, but no one knew about it unless a third party intervened. Joon-ki immediately reminded Yoon Ha that she absolutely had to find this third party. Suddenly, Yoon Ha almost slipped and fell, so Joon-ki rushed to catch her. He worriedly reminded her to be more careful. Yoon Ha was touched to see that he was truly worried about her. At the same time, Ji was facing Chang-soo's mother. The lady, upon meeting Ji, sarcastically remarked that she was uneducated. Ji then mentioned the famous comedian Park Moon-soo, who only graduated from high school, so for her, being uneducated wasn't something to be ashamed of. However, Chang-soo's mother insisted that her family would absolutely not accept Yi-ji and that Chang-soo was only with Yi-ji for fun. Despite Mrs. Jung's constant insults, Ji absolutely refused to give up Chang-soo because her love for him was too great. This infuriated Mrs. Jo, who threatened to teach Ji a lesson. Ji returned home sadly, only to find Chang-soo waiting for her. She asked him who he really was. He said he was the man who would leave all of Korea for her. Ji burst into tears and hugged him tightly. When Yoon Ha brought Joon-ki to see her office, he asked if she wanted a promotion, but her answer left Joon-ki stunned. Yoon Ha said she didn't care about status. She was only there to resolve Kyung-jun's matter. Joon-ki's gaze always made her feel strange, but each time, Yoon Ha only wanted to do one thing. As soon as she finished speaking, she leaned in and kissed Joon-ki. Joon-ki suddenly realized he had truly loved this girl for a long time. Joon-ki liked Yoon Ha because she gradually erased all the darkness in his soul. This girl was truly so different, making him overcome all boundaries and open his heart to her. Joon-ki also returned Yoon Ha's kiss. Seeing Ji sad, Chang-soo took her to a place with beautiful and peaceful scenery. He even carried Ji on his back and asked what was wrong. But Ji replied that she was fine, hiding the fact that she had met his mother. She said that no matter what happened, she would definitely not break up with him. Chang-soo didn't know what to say except to wrap his arms tightly around his girlfriend. Yoon Ha took Joon-ki back to the apartment. He had met his ex-girlfriend again, and they talked privately. Min-jung wanted to get back together with Joon-ki, but he immediately refused because he no longer had feelings for her. This only angered Min-young even more. Min-young thought he was with Yoon Ha because Yoon Ha's family was better than hers. Joon-ki tried to explain, but Min-young clearly didn't believe him. Min-young even asked if he truly had feelings for Yoon Ha. Suddenly, Joon-ki didn't know how to answer. Joon-ki then changed the subject, saying he wanted to take Min-young home, but Min-young thought Joon-ki was pitying her, so she angrily left. Meanwhile, Yoon Ha connected the USB drive to the computer and opened the top-secret information of the Taejin group. Yoon Ha discovered that her older sister's pharmaceutical and cosmetic company was using 7% talc powder, more than 7 times the permitted level, and it could affect consumers' health. After knowing that Yoon Ha was dating an assistant director, Yoon Ha's mother immediately ordered the housekeeper to summon her. At that moment, Ye-won also arrived to see her mother. Ye-won said she was gathering evidence of her husband's infidelity to make divorce easier. Ye-won told her mother that if she wanted to divorce her father, she needed to gather enough evidence of his mistress. This would give her more advantages in court, and she might even receive a larger share of the assets. At this point, Joon-ki's mother was extremely worried, knowing Yoon Ha's true identity. She feared her son would be hurt by his less privileged background compared to his girlfriend. His mother's words touched Joon-ki's pride. He angrily asked, "Didn't you always say that character is the most important thing? Why are you saying such things now?" It was because of his mother's attitude that Joon-ki hated poverty. Hearing what her son said, the mother could only apologize. Joon-ki insisted he wouldn't be hurt by this and asked his mother not to apologize anymore. Meanwhile, Yoon Ha's mother demanded that she quickly break up with her boyfriend, otherwise she would deal with him. But Yoon Ha said that her father had accepted her relationship. Her mother then said that her father was only using it to market his company. No matter how much her mother objected, Yoon Ha remained determined to marry Joon-ki. She believed that even though she was just an ordinary person, he still loved her, and she couldn't find a better man anywhere else. On the other side, Chang-soo's mother continued to obstruct his relationship with Ji-yi. Because Ji-yi was from a lower class and not of a high enough status to enter the their family. To intimidate her son, she withdrew the shares she had promised him. At the same time, she threatened to continue to confront Ji. She even said that she would fire Junki the next day. Chang-soo's patience has reached its limit. He's mature enough to make his own decisions about his life, so he doesn't want his mother interfering anymore. Yoon Ha arrives at her brother's villa and encounters her eldest sister there. Ye-won hopes her sister will introduce her boyfriend sometime, or if Yoon Ha considers him just a temporary dating partner, then there's no need for an introduction. Yoon Ha says she's determined to marry Junki no matter what. Yoon Ha also subtly asks her sister about the progress of the children's cosmetics project. Ye-won avoids the topic. Later, Yoon Ha receives a call from Min Young, who wants to reveal the truth about Junki. Min Young advises Yoon Ha against marrying someone who exploits women like Junki. But Yoon Ha could see that Min Young only wanted the two of them to break up so Junki could go back to her. Therefore, she ignored all of Min Young's warnings. Meanwhile, Chang-soo and Junki raced bicycles. Junki won because this time, he gave it his all and didn't give Chang-soo any leeway like he usually did. Junki said he truly liked Chang-soo, but what he wanted was to be second best, not first, with certain limitations, which is why he chose Chang-soo. Because Junki desperately needed power, he built the relationship. Just like Chang-soo went to the high society party and befriended other executives. But Chang-soo was still very hurt because he considered Junki his best friend, but now he was betrayed by his friend. Then Junki said that if Chang-soo didn't overcome his own limitations, he couldn't marry Ji. Junki hopes Chang-soo will overcome all obstacles and do what he wants, instead of being confined within the constraints set by his family. Junki has seen through his father's life and doesn't want his family to live in hardship anymore. Junki must do everything he can to save their lives. Chang-soo asks, what about Yoon Ha? Junki replies that although his initial motives weren't pure, that doesn't mean his love was. Junki truly loves Yoon Ha. At this time, Mrs. Jung arranges another meeting with Ji. She says that if Ji continues dating Chang-soo, he will lose his shares in the hotel and everything he owns. Ji fears that her lover will be implicated because of her, so she decides to end the relationship. Although Ji can endure the humiliation from Chang-soo's mother, she cannot bear to see him lose his future because of her. But Ji didn't expect Chang-soo to coldly say goodbye first. Suddenly, it started raining heavily. Chang-soo grabbed Ji's hand and pulled her to run through the rain. But the tears no longer rolled down their cheeks. Instead, they wore happy smiles. When they got into the car, Chang-soo couldn't help but kiss Ji passionately. At the same time, Junki's mother praised Yoon Ha for growing up so well and saying she looked just as adorable as when she was little. It turned out she had seen Yoon Ha's childhood photos in Junki's drawer. She then took the photos out to show Yoon Ha. Thanks to this, Yoon Ha discovered the documents Junki had investigated about her, along with the hair clip she had dropped at her blind date with Chang-soo. Yoon Ha was so shocked and couldn't control her emotions that she asked Junki's mother for permission and hurried away. But Yoon Ha met Junki right outside her door. Yoon Ha coldly walked past Junki, leaving him completely confused. Upon returning home, Junki discovered that his secret had been revealed. Junki hurriedly chased after his girlfriend. Yoon Ha asked Junki if he had known her true identity from the beginning. Junki frankly admitted everything. Yoon Ha nervously asked if everything he did was calculated, even the story Junki shared about his father. Junki admitted he had calculated a little. Now Yoon Ha was both heartbroken and angry because she realized Junki only wanted to use her to enter the upper class. But Junki explained that he had never done anything to win Yoon Ha's heart. It was Yoon Ha who was touched by Junki's small acts of kindness and care. It was also Yoon Ha who took the initiative to confess her feelings first. Junki thought that if it wasn't him, but someone else who cared for Yoon Ha like that, she would have fallen for that person anyway. Yoon Ha could only cry when Junki thought of her that way. Yoon Ha said that she loved him simply because he was him, not someone else, so a scoundrel like him shouldn't be allowed to mock her love. As soon as she finished speaking, Yoon Ha immediately drove away. But while avoiding a dog running across the road, Yoon Ha nearly had an accident. Junki heard the loud noise and anxiously ran to ask if Yoon Ha was alright. Yoon Ha burst into tears. She still got out and asked Junki if he craved her family's wealth so much. Since her brother's death, Yoon Ha had been consumed by grief, wanting to follow him. But because of her love for Junki, Yoon Ha had a reason to live on. Yet now, Yoon Ha discovered it was all a lie. That was unbearable for her. Yoon Ha left in despair, leaving Junki filled with regret. At that moment, the relationship between Chang-soo and Ji took a new turn. Chang-soo was always afraid that if they were together, he would unintentionally hurt her. But Ji willingly went through all the difficulties with him. No matter how much she had to suffer, she wasn't afraid. Chang-soo pushed her down onto the bed and said that now she should be afraid. Ji said that it was her choice, so she wasn't afraid, but she hoped he would promise never to apologize to her again. Chang-soo gave her a kiss as confirmation. Chairman Jang planned to put Yoon Ha in charge of the Incheon Airport project, but Ye-won objected, believing Yoon Ha lacked experience. However, the chairman insisted on putting Yoon Ha in charge because he believed in her abilities. Meanwhile, Junki was filled with remorse for his mistakes. Junki had even prepared an engagement ring for Yoon Ha, but unexpectedly, things turned out this badly. Yoon Ha, deeply hurt, wanted revenge. She quickly regained her composure and had someone investigate Junki more thoroughly. Meanwhile, Ji was officially accepted into the marketing team of the Taejin group. Next, Yoon Ha met with Chang-soo to talk. Yoon Ha asked Chang-soo to fire Junki, but Chang-soo refused, saying he needed Junki. Yoon Ha argued that they were all the same as friends. Chang-soo insisted they weren't friends and warned Yoon Ha to be careful if she wanted to confront Junki, but Yoon Ha believed she could destroy him. At this time, Ye-won met with Junki to discuss a collaboration. Junki presented 3 conditions: money, status, and working conditions. Before agreeing to these, Yewon wanted Joon-ki to bring the ranking of the department store he managed. Yewon wanted to see Joon-ki's capabilities. After knowing that her younger sister had broken up with her boyfriend, Sohun sarcastically mocked Yoon Ha for being deceived by a greedy person. Yoon Ha warned her sister not to give her phone number to just anyone. After saying this, Yoon Ha kicked her sister out of the office. At lunchtime, Chang-soo picked up Ji to go eat. Ji suggested eating tteokbokki, but when they arrived, Chang-soo hesitated to eat due to concerns about food safety. However, seeing Ji enjoying it so much, Chang-soo tried a piece and found it delicious. The department stores at Incheon Airport will be displaying Taejin cosmetics, so Joon-ki helped them with a reasonable price. At the same time, Joon-ki will also hold a product promotion event. Joon-ki went to the Taejin group to discuss the project, but he waited a long time without meeting the person in charge, so he went directly to find Yoon Ha. Joon-ki could accept any punishment from Yoon Ha. He only hoped she wouldn't destroy herself because of this. But Yoon Ha believed Joon-ki was only pretending to care for her, that he had never truly loved her. Joon-ki wanted to know if Yoon Ha still had feelings for him, but Yoon Ha coldly replied no. Unconvinced, Joon-ki cornered Yoon Ha against the wall. He said that if Yoon Ha had loved him before, she would still love him now. Even though Yoon Ha's mind couldn't understand Joon-ki, her heart would surely still accept him. Yoon Ha wondered why Joon-ki would admit everything like that. Joon-ki said that because he loved Yoon Ha, he couldn't lie to her. He didn't know when he had fallen in love with her. Joon-ki sincerely apologized for misunderstanding her. At the same time, Joon-ki revealed to her that he would be working for Yewon with very good terms. For Joon-ki, career is far more important than love because he doesn't want to live a life of humiliation like his father. However, Yoon Ha is no longer moved by Joon-ki's story. Yoon Ha declares she will use her family's influence to ruin Joon-ki. Because of his mistakes, Joon-ki accepts all the consequences. He only asks Yoon Ha never to forgive him. After officially collaborating with Yewon, Joon-ki arranged to meet Chang-soo to inform him that he would be resigning. The two resolved all their past misunderstandings, allowing Joon-ki to leave peacefully. Afterwards, Joon-ki returned home and found his mother preparing the beef dish that Yoon Ha used to make for him. Joon-ki immediately remembered the beautiful memories he shared with Yoon Ha. His mother kept asking about Yoon Ha, so he told her that they had broken up. That evening, Yoon Ha and Ji-e drank beer together by the river. Yoon Ha kept blaming Joon-ki for deceiving her, but Ji-e could understand Joon-ki's feelings because they belonged to the same social class. For them, simply surviving in this harsh world was more important than love. When Ji-e returned home, the landlord suddenly demanded she leave. Because the landlord unilaterally terminated the contract, Ji-e threatened to sue. The landlord, terrified, admitted that someone had paid 5 times the rent to evict Ji-e. That person was none other than Mrs. Jung. Mrs. Jung had discovered that Ji-e was still persistently dating her son. If Chang-soo continued to disobey Mrs. Jung, she vowed to make Ji's life miserable. Finally, Chang-soo promised his mother that he would never see Ji again. Suddenly, Ji proactively arranged to meet Chang-soo's mother the next day in front of Yeji's company, and the lady agreed. Meanwhile, Yeji also sent Chang-soo a message, telling them to stop acting in dramas and return to reality. At this moment, Chang-soo felt extremely confused. He remembered Joon-ki's warnings. If he didn't push himself beyond his limits, he would never be able to marry the woman he loved. During a meeting with the older sisters, Yoon Ha showed the eldest sister the company's previous lawsuit. The company had won. However, there were still many documents on the USB drive, so Yoon Ha speculated that Yewon and Kyung-jun's previous argument might be related to this. Moreover, it was also related to her brother's accident, but Yewon immediately reacted fiercely and denied everything. She said she had no connection to Kyung-jun and that the lawsuit was won because the company did nothing wrong. The plaintiff lost only because they lacked sufficient evidence. If the USB drive fell into the hands of a rival, their corporation would be ruined. Yoon Ha warned her sister not to underestimate them, but Yewon didn't care because she had already won the lawsuit. She wanted Yoon Ha to give her the USB drive, but Yoon Ha insisted on keeping it for her brother. At this point, Yewon voiced her suspicions. Kyung-jun's death wasn't an accident. Kyung-jun had a very weak nervous system and always took antidepressants. At that time, the company was busy dealing with the slush fund issue, and suddenly Kyung-jun wanted to go on a trip. However, Yoon Ha still didn't understand her sister's meaning. Yewon then hinted that Kyung-jun intended to end his life. That's why Kyung-jun had given the shares and the USB drive to Yoon Ha beforehand, and he had also prepared a will. But Yoon Ha didn't believe her older sister's words. She thought her brother was just a meticulous person who always prepared everything in advance. Meanwhile, Butler Hong was reporting his investigation to Mrs. Min. The third party Kyung-jun asked to transfer the shares to Yoon Ha was Sung-ho. Sung-ho's bank account contained an account under Kyung-jun's name. Investigating this money flow could lead them to Kyung-jun if he were still alive. Regardless of the truth, Mrs. Min wanted to continue the investigation. At that moment, Yoon Ha texted Butler Hong, asking how far they had gotten in their investigation of Joon-ki. Butler Hong told her that Joon-ki's family background was nothing special, and that further investigation wouldn't yield any results. He sincerely advised Yoon Ha to give up on Joon-ki. Hearing this, Yoon Ha asked Butler Hong why he still loved her mother. Butler Hong insisted he didn't love her, but Yoon Ha believed he was lying. Finally, Yoon Ha realized everything was just as her mother had said. From now on, Yoon Ha will no longer disobey her mother. She will follow her mother's arrangements. The next day, Chang-soo informed Yoon Ha that her shop at Incheon Airport was ready. Next, Yoon Ha wanted Chang-soo to arrange for her cosmetics to be sold at duty-free shops in China. At the same time, Yoon Ha also told Chang-soo that Ji had been kicked out of his apartment by his mother. Therefore, Yoon Ha did not want the two of them to continue their relationship. However, Chang-soo Chang-soo was still not ready to make a decision about his marriage. When Yoon Ha met Joon-ki at the company, he admitted that he was the one who posted the news about Yoon Ha working part-time. Yoon Ha wasn't surprised, but was curious to ask why Joon-ki did it. Joon-ki said that he wanted Yoon Ha to return home and work for his family's company because he knew Yoon Ha wasn't mature enough to be independent. Joon-ki also reminded Yoon Ha that those who wanted to take advantage of her would always cater to her wishes. Yoon Ha then asked Joon-ki if he had no ulterior motives in approaching her. Joon-ki said he only hoped she would live a better life. At this time, Ji had arrived to see Mrs. Jung. Ji happily informed Mrs. Jung that she had broken up with Mrs. Jung's son, so she hoped Mrs. Jung wouldn't seek her out anymore. Otherwise, she would fall for Mrs. Jung. This was the third time they had met. After saying these words, Ji stood up and left, leaving Mrs. Jung bewildered. During lunch, Yoon Ha saw Ji and Joon-ki chatting intimately, so she didn't want to interfere. After lunch, when Joon-ki saw Yoon Ha, he left first. Ji felt Yoon Ha was being overly harsh towards Joon-ki. Because Ji was in the same position as Joon-ki, she felt sympathetic towards him. Because of their difficult circumstances, people like Yi-ji and Joon-ki only want to marry a wealthy person to change their fate. Yi-ji thinks there's nothing wrong with that. While Yi-ji was bringing documents to Yoon Ha, she unexpectedly met Chang-soo, making things awkward for both of them. Yi-ji wanted to leave, but Chang-soo stopped her, saying he didn't want them to break up just over a text message. At this point, Yi-ji said that breaking up would be better for their future because their romantic drama had reached its end. Yi bowed her head and thanked Chang-soo for his care. Although Yoon Ha tried to mend their relationship, Yi-ji always refused. Chang-soo could only remain silently sad. Afterwards, Yi sat alone and sobbed uncontrollably. Joon-ki happened to notice this and invited her out for drinks. At that time, Yoon Ha called to invite Yi-ji to dinner, but Yi-ji immediately refused and even hung up the phone. Worried that her best friend was angry with her, Yoon Ha went to Yi-ji's house with Chang-soo. Unexpectedly, they saw Yi-ji being affectionate with Joon-ki. Chang-soo tried to pull Yi-ji away, but Joon-ki held him back, clearly indicating Yi-ji didn't want to go with him. Chang-soo glared at Joon-ki and demanded he let go of his hand. He just wanted to talk to Yi-ji privately, but she said she didn't want to talk to someone she had broken up with. The three continued to argue, so Yoon Ha asked Yi-ji to talk to her privately. Finally, Joon-ki and Chang-soo had to go buy drinks for everyone. Chang-soo was still very concerned about his friend, asking Joon-ki if his new job was better. But when Chang-soo heard his friend say it was better, he immediately became sulky. Joon-ki advised Chang-soo to let Ji go because his mother had caused her so much suffering, but Chang-soo refused to let go. Chang-soo even scolded Joon-ki, saying he had no right to speak to him like that, as Joon-ki himself had exploited a girl's feelings to achieve his ambitions. Hearing these words, Joon-ki felt deeply ashamed, especially since it was a girl as innocent as Yoon Ha. Due to their differing viewpoints, the two men argued fiercely until Ji and Yoon Ha arrived, at which point they finally stopped. However, Chang-soo still insisted that Joon-ki had provoked him. Ji defended Joon-ki, so the two went aside to argue. At this point, only Yoon Ha and Joon-ki were left. Suddenly, Yoon Ha received a phone call informing her that her father had been hospitalized. Joon-ki hailed a taxi for Yoon Ha and got in with her. Yoon Ha was annoyed, thinking Joon-ki was trying to win her favor. The two continued arguing in the taxi, so Yoon Ha asked the driver to stop and kick Joon-ki out. But Joon-ki didn't give up. He immediately hailed another car to chase after her. Meanwhile, Chairman Jang had finished his minor surgery and had regained consciousness. At the same time, Yoon Ha arrived at the hospital. Seeing Joon-ki there, she was furious. Although he said he only wanted to know if she was safe, Yoon Ha still believed he was just pretending to be nice to her. Suddenly, she approached Joon-ki and confessed her feelings. She even wanted to kiss him, making his heart flutter, but it was all just a prank to get revenge on him. Just as Yoon Ha entered the hospital, her older sister came out. Yoon had discovered her younger sister and Joon-ki together and suspected they hadn't completely broken up. Even though Yoon Ha was scolding Joon-ki terribly at that moment, she still truly loved him. It was just that the misunderstanding between them was too great, so she couldn't accept his feelings anymore. When Chang-soo returned, his mother asked him to marry So-young because her family was a good match for theirs. Chang-soo couldn't argue with his mother, so he decided to follow her wishes. He sadly returned to his room and recalled what had just happened. He had confessed that Ji was very important to him and that he couldn't live well without her. But Ji heartlessly said that she could live perfectly well without him and would quickly forget him. She would find someone from a similar background and have children with him. She would tell her child that there was once a handsome, wealthy man who liked her. So she asked him not to come looking for her anymore because each time she did, it was difficult for her to forget him. Chang-soo was heartbroken to have to part ways with her. Ji didn't feel happy either. She remembered their memories and tears kept falling. Wanting someone to share her feelings with, Ji called Joon-ki as Yoon Ha was busy at the hospital. When Yoon Ha visited her father, she had the opportunity to sit down and talk amicably with her mother. She said that although her mother had often treated her coldly in the past, she had never hated her. On the contrary, Yoon Ha felt very sorry for her mother because she hadn't been treated well by her husband. Mrs. Min was surprised that her youngest daughter was so understanding. She said that everything she had done before was only for Yoon Ha's good. While Yoon Ha was away from the office, Ye-won bought another safe to swap with Yoon Ha's. But Ye-won left all the documents behind and only took the USB drive. The next day, when Yoon Ha returned to the office, she saw the watch that Joon-ki had returned to her. Later, the two accidentally met again in the hallway. Yoon Ha asked why Joon-ki was working for her sister, disregarding the awkwardness Yoon Ha would face because of their relationship. She was already a laughingstock at home. Joon-ki said he couldn't answer her at the moment, only advising her to be strong. While Yoon Ha was talking to Ye-won, her sister suddenly mentioned the USB drive. Ye-won even said that if Yoon Ha wanted to do anything with it, she'd better hurry. Yoon Ha calmly replied that she understood. Yoon Ha didn't realize the USB drive had fallen into her sister's hands. Ye-won had always considered Yoon Ha a rival to be eliminated, as both the chairman and Kyung-jun always sided with Yoon Ha. While Ye-won was visiting her father in the hospital, she suggested to him that they arrange a marriage between Yoon Ha and Chang-soo, since the two companies were cooperating. The chairman also felt this marriage would be very beneficial and agreed. So, Mrs. Min arranged a meeting with Mrs. Jung, and they quickly reached an agreement. Immediately, Mrs. Jung told her son about this, but Chang-soo strongly objected because Yoon Ha was Joon-ki's girlfriend, and his ex-girlfriend was also Yoon Ha's close friend. However, no matter what her son said, Mrs. Jung decided to arrange a marriage between the Taejin group and Yoon Ha. During lunch, Ji-in said that she felt Yoon Ha was no longer the same as before. Yoon Ha no longer cared about love and only focused on work. Yet, in the past, Yoon Ha was clearly an unambitious person who only loved a simple life. The more Joon-ki listened, the more guilty he felt, because he was the reason Yoon Ha had become this way. Meanwhile, Yoon Ha asked Chang-soo to arrange 2 duty-free shops for her at the airport. Chang-soo constantly complained about Yoon Ha always asking him for favors. Just then, Ji walked in, quickly ending the call. Yoon Ha admired Ji because Chang-soo loved her for who she truly was. But Ji said she also admired Yoon Ha because if Yoon Ha just said the word, she could have the person she loved. However, Yoon Ha countered that Joon-ki didn't truly love her. He only loved her for his own benefit. This made Yoon Ha even more ashamed because she had confidently declared to her mother that she had a genuine love. Furthermore, Ji wanted to help her friend increase sales in China, so she boldly proposed her idea. On the day Chairman Jang was officially discharged from the hospital, he held his wife and youngest daughter's hands tightly in front of the media. When they returned home, his wife treated him with such tenderness that even their children were surprised. Because seeing this man fall ill, she realized that the reason she hated her husband so much was because she desperately longed for his love. When she saw the chairman suddenly collapse, she feared she would lose her husband. Therefore, she wanted to stay by his side and take care of him. At this time, Yoon Ha discovered that the safe had been tampered with and her older sister had taken the USB drive. While Yoon Ha was still in shock, her mother arrived. She wanted to tell Yoon Ha that both families wanted to arrange a marriage between Yoon Ha and Chang-soo. Yoon Ha immediately refused because he was Ji's boyfriend, and she hoped her mother would find someone else. Yoon Ha's sudden obedience surprised her mother, so Yoon Ha explained that she felt ashamed for being taken advantage of in love. Her mother then said that not all love is pure, and that Yoon Ha was simply too naive to be taken advantage of. She considered it a lesson for Yoon Ha. The next day, Ji happily told Joon-ki that her online cosmetics review had received many positive reviews. Ji wanted to share this with Yoon Ha. At the same time, Joon Ha and Chang-soo were meeting. Due to pressure from both families, Chang-soo was planning to kiss Yoon Ha to see if they were compatible. Just then, Joon-ki walked in and saw this scene. Joon-ki quickly pulled Ji aside so she could see. As Chang-soo got closer to Yoon Ha, she coldly told him to stay away. Chang-soo immediately moved away. They realized they had no feelings for each other. As for Chang-soo, since meeting Ji, his heart couldn't accept any other woman. Chang-soo also said that Joon-ki truly loved Yoon Ha, even though his initial motives weren't pure. Yoon Ha only said that it was a pity it was too late now. Chang-soo went outside and saw Ji and Joon-ki walking together. This made Chang-soo very sad. Yoon Ha called Ji to ask why she hadn't come. Ji said it was because Chang-soo was there. Ji also told Yoon Ha that she was with Joon-ki and that Joon-ki had seen them sitting together. Then, Ji showed Joon-ki her post. Joon-ki suggested that instead of taking photos, a video would be more effective. Joon-ki also promised to ask an acquaintance to help Ji. Meanwhile, Butler Hong investigated the truth behind Kyung-jun's accident. It turned out Kyung-jun had staged the scene and created a new identity for himself. Kyung-jun was now living his own new life. Mrs. Min was shocked. She couldn't believe her son would abandon his family to escape reality like that. Even though it was almost midnight, Joon-ki noticed that Yoon Ha's office lights were still on. Joon-ki's mother was worried about her son's health, so she brought him food. Joon-ki had to work overtime because he was also taking on Yoon Ha's part of the job. He wanted to help her and ease her stress. After Joon-ki finished eating and left, his mother called Yoon Ha down, as she had saved some food for her. This unintentionally led to the two of them meeting in the elevator. Yoon Ha knew Joon-ki had seen her sitting close to Chang-soo, so she wanted to explain a little. Of course, Joon-ki didn't misunderstand anything. He just didn't want Ji to see it. Because Joon-ki knew that Yoon Ha would never take the initiative with someone she didn't like, and Chang-soo was the same. Meanwhile, Chang-soo was still watching Ji's every move. He heard every word of her lament, but he could only silently shed tears. Even though Yoon Ha had broken up with Joon-ki, she still cherished his mother very much. Conversely, Joon-ki's mother still cherished her son's ex-girlfriend, which is why she prepared extra food for Yoon Ha. Although their time together was rather short, Joon-ki's mother treated Yoon Ha like her own daughter. She said that if Joon-ki ever wronged Yoon Ha shouldn't forgive him, but should continue to resent him. Despite her words, Yoon Ha understood that her mother truly hoped she could forgive her son. Meanwhile, Chang-soo returned home drunk, causing his mother great worry. As soon as he entered his room, he went berserk, smashing things and then crying. He used to think that a loveless marriage was okay, but now he realized he couldn't, because he loved Ji so much that he couldn't live without her. Seeing her son constantly clutching his chest in pain, Mrs. Jung felt great pity for him. After finishing work, Yoon Ha suddenly discovered a glass of water that Joon-ki had given her, along with a message of encouragement. She went to his office and saw him still diligently working. Yoon Ha only went to return the glass of water, but Joon-ki gave her a list of people in charge of the duty-free shop at the airport. He had handled the necessary tasks. Now Yoon Ha just needed to send the email to complete the job. But he wasn't helping her for free, so she had to drink the water he bought first. He also gave her advice on how to gain the trust of her subordinates. Because of this, Yoon Ha opened up more. She even said that she was always happy whenever she met his mother. She also admitted that she was childish for saying she wanted revenge on Joon-ki. He laughed because she admitted her mistakes so quickly. The next day, during lunch, Chairman Jong announced that he would be absent for a while, and Ye-won would be running the company in his place. He then turned to Yoon Ha and reminded her to try harder because she had disappointed him. Ye-won was secretly delighted to hear this. At this point, the secretary informed Chairman Jong that he knew the truth about Kyung-jun's accident. Initially, Kyung-jun wanted to present evidence against Ye-won's pharmaceutical company, but his sister discovered his plan, causing him to change his mind. The following day, Jang-soo suddenly invited Joon-ki to lunch. Joon-ki then suggested going to the company for lunch. When Ji saw Chang-soo, she quickly stepped aside to observe him, watching his every move with a heavy heart. That evening, Chang-soo returned home drunk again, still insisting to his mother that he wanted Ji. Yoon Ha wasn't doing much better either. She told her mother in despair that she didn't want to live anymore. She thought that if she hadn't been born, her mother wouldn't have to suffer so much. She gradually felt that her mother's words were true. All the problems lay with her. She just didn't understand why she couldn't even live a normal life. Yoon Ha kept crying and blaming herself. Yoon Ha's mother was heartbroken to hear these words, because she had been too cold to Yoon Ha before. But Yoon Ha still blamed herself for harming her brother. At this point, Yoon Ha's mother told her that Kyung-jun was still alive, and the family was trying to persuade him to return. The next day, Yoon Ha went to the company and saw the breakfast prepared by Joon-ki again. But this time, Yoon Ha was no longer upset. She smiled. At the same time, Yoon Ha's family found Kyung-jun's whereabouts. It turned out that Kyung-jun had fled to Southeast Asia. Chairman Jang, upon knowing that his son had already made plans to escape, was so angry that he suffered a heart attack. Butler Hong informed Yoon Ha of the news, causing her immense worry. Joon-ki immediately took her hand and rushed her to the hospital. However, Yoon Ha continued to act coldly towards him. Joon-ki felt even more self-reproach, but Yoon Ha didn't want to blame him anymore. She simply felt she had been too naive to believe in that pure, illusory love. Yoon Ha even said that now she and he were like two parallel lines that would never meet. Strangely, when Yoon Ha arrived at the hospital, no one allowed her to visit her father. Previously, although the detective had found Kyung-jun's whereabouts, Kyung-jun had discovered it and quickly changed locations. Even after hearing about her father's stroke, Kyung-jun still refused to return. Ye-won's assistant investigated the situation and informed her. Currently, the chairman is with his assistant, and his health is not a cause for concern. Yoon Ha and Ye-won then spoke privately. Yoon Ha wanted to know if her brother would return. However, Ye-won didn't answer directly, saying that it was better if Kyung-jun disappeared forever, so there would be no one to compete with her for power. Yoon Ha, however, believed that Ye-won was merely a tool for their father to mold his youngest son and daughter. Therefore, Yoon Ha now harbored ambitions to take the director's position. Yoon Ha also wanted to see just how attractive the position of heir really was, that her eldest sister coveted it so much. Ye-won frankly stated that the first step to proving one's ability was to create a breakthrough in revenue. If Yoon Ha wanted to replace Ye-won, she had to surpass her sister's previous record. Yoon Ha recalled Ji's suggestion to film a cosmetics commercial, so she called her friend for clarification. Next, Yoon Ha arranged for Joon-ki to come to her office. She told him that she was different from before, that she no longer craved simple love. She wanted to be at the top of everything. But currently, Yoon Ha wasn't capable enough and needed Joon-ki's help. Of course, Joon-ki happily agreed to Yoon Ha's request, even though he was Ye-won's subordinate. The next day, Mrs. Jung arranged to meet Ji. She wanted to allow Ji to continue dating her son, but she wouldn't allow them to get married. Ji refused without hesitation. Since they had broken up, Ji felt she couldn't continue dating as before. On the other hand, Ji sincerely hoped Chang-soo would marry a girl from a suitable family background. That way, the girl wouldn't be looked down upon and could live harmoniously with his family. Ji also didn't want to affect her ex-boyfriend's future. Meanwhile, Joon-ki had prepared a USB drive for Yoon Ha. They chatted happily and comfortably, just like before. Afterwards, Yoon Ha watched the commercial clip that Joon-ki had edited and felt very satisfied. On the other side, Chang-soo's mother told him that she had given him permission to date Ji, but she didn't expect Ji to refuse. Chang-soo didn't want his mother to interfere in his personal life anymore, because he was mature enough to decide everything himself. Kyung-jun, after a long time living abroad, finally returned. His mother was both happy and angry to see her son still alive. She never expected him to treat her so cruelly, but besides apologizing, Kyung-jun didn't know what else to say, because he had selfishly chosen his own life. Soon after, Kyung-jun returned to the company and went to see his older sister. The moment she saw Kyung-jun return, Ye-won felt unhappy, because it wouldn't be long before Kyung-jun took over the vice president position. A popular makeup program suddenly invited Yoon Ha to participate in their new broadcast. Yoon Ha immediately agreed, because it could help boost sales. Then Ye-won reprimanded Yoon Ha for not yet completing the merger plan with the Chinese market, while Joon-ki, who joined the company at the same time, had already finalized deals with 3 companies in the US. If Yoon Ha continued to stall like this, Ye-won would definitely fire her. But Yoon Ha wasn't worried, because she had her father to protect her. Suddenly, Ye-won threatened to fire Joon-ki, so Yoon Ha said that if that happened, she would hire Joon-ki to work for her. Previously, Ye-won had intended to merge Yoon Ha's China strategy team and Joon-ki's US strategy team, but Joon-ki refused, so Ye-won was ready to get rid of rid of him. When Junki arrived at the elevator, he coincidentally met Yoon Ha, and the two chatted. Now that Yoon Ha had publicly declared her opposition to her sister, she wanted to win Junki over to her side because Junki was a capable person. When Yoon Ha returned to the office, she saw a note from her brother. Yoon Ha was deeply moved. At the same time, Kyung-jun met his father again. However, his father was furious about his son's foolish actions. From the beginning, Kyung-jun had invested in his own company, and it was still thriving. So even if Kyung-jun didn't work for his father, he could still live well. His father only asked Kyung-jun to hand over his shares, but Kyung-jun refused, further enraging the chairman. He would rather destroy the entire business than hand it over to Kyung-jun. Finally, the two openly confronted each other because Kyung-jun no longer wanted to serve his father's selfish ideals. Afterwards, Ye-won called Junki to ask for his thoughts on the merger strategy. Junki said he wasn't ready to take over the Chinese market yet, and he certainly didn't want to steal Yoon Ha's position. But Ye-won insisted that Junki take on the task at all costs, putting immense pressure on him. Meanwhile, Chang-soo arranged to meet Ji at a casual restaurant. She offered him some chicken feet, but he immediately refused. Their tastes were different, and they had nothing in common in many other aspects of life, so Ji thought it was better for them to stick with people of the same social standing. Even though Chang-soo wanted to mend their relationship, Ji still believed the gap between them was too great, and they couldn't be together anymore. That evening, Junki prepared his resignation letter and then handed over the remaining documents related to the Chinese market to Yoon Ha. If it weren't for him, she wouldn't know how to handle things. She was very grateful to him. Yoon Ha even arranged to meet him again tomorrow. She had no idea he was preparing to quit his job. Things weren't much better on this side either. Chang-soo resented Ji for rejecting him, even though his mother had agreed to their relationship. But Ji remained firm in her stance. She absolutely would not date someone whose family disapproved. Even if she continued dating him, she didn't think she was strong enough to break up a second time. She also feared that one day he would no longer love her. Chang-soo asked if she had changed because she loved him, but Ji didn't answer and hurried away. Chang-soo shouted, "I love you," making her stop in her tracks. She said that she would forget everything he had said today and that his image would no longer be in her memory. The next day, Yoon Ha participated in a beauty program on television and received enthusiastic support from the audience. Meanwhile, Junki submitted his resignation to Ye-won. This was clearly a great opportunity for advancement for Junki, but he was willing to give it up for Yoon Ha's future. He didn't want to be an obstacle to her future. After Yoon Ha appeared on the program, product sales increased sharply. Many partners proactively contacted Yoon Ha for collaboration. Yoon Ha immediately boasted about this to her older sister. Yoon Ha's sales figures were significantly higher than Ye-won's. Ye-won simply said that Junki had resigned and that she wouldn't acknowledge her sister's achievement if it had been aided by Junki. Upon hearing the news, Yoon Ha rushed to find Junki, but he was no longer there. Yoon Ha anxiously called Junki and asked why he quit his job, when previously, making money was his top priority. Junki said he did it to atone for his mistakes, so from now on, they didn't need to see or contact each other anymore. He wished her well. Immediately after saying this, Junki hung up, leaving Yoon Ha speechless with surprise. He returned home and told his mother that he had quit his job. Unexpectedly, his mother praised him for doing a good job because she knew he always thought carefully before making any decisions. Thanks to this, she and her son would have more time together in the future. Junki and his mother shared a warm hug. On the day Yoon Ha received Kyung-jun's message, her older sister suddenly came and said that Kyung-jun was only using Yoon Ha for his plan because if he suddenly disappeared without a body being found, everyone would think he was still alive. Earlier, Kyung-jun had brought Yoon Ha along to act as a witness. Yoon Ha was extremely confused by her older sister's words, so she decided to meet her brother directly to clarify everything. Kyung-jun's current shareholding was enough to threaten Chairman Jan's position. Ye-won wanted to use this opportunity to ask their father to take all of Kyung-jun's shares, but he knew it wouldn't be easy. On the contrary, he felt that cooperating with Kyung-jun would be more beneficial to him because she couldn't convince her father to get rid of Kyung-jun. Ye-won vented her anger on the office furniture. Meanwhile, Yoon Ha curiously asked Kyung-jun why he staged the disappearance and why he secretly bought shares for her. Kyung-jun explained that he wanted her to have a position in the corporation. Because he saw that she wasn't valued by the family, he always wanted to protect his younger sister. The moment he saw her happily talking about her boyfriend, he felt even more at ease, leaving everything behind. Therefore, he chose Yoon Ha to see him off. Yoon Ha was deeply moved by what her brother had done for her, because those things truly stemmed from love, not exploitation as Ye-won had claimed. When Yoon Ha returned home, her mother seemed to have changed and was very caring. However, Yoon Ha felt a little unaccustomed to it. Mrs. Min then assumed her daughter didn't like her. Yoon Ha said that she had never hated her mother. She always tried to live on because she wanted her mother's acceptance. Although Yoon Ha didn't need her mother as much as she did when she was little, she always thought of her mother first whenever she felt tired. Mrs. Min was very moved by this. She admitted that in the past, because she was so heartbroken, she had vented all her pain on Yoon Ha. Now she felt extremely regretful. She hoped Yoon Ha could forget the cold words she had said before. But Yoon Ha couldn't do that because her mother's cold words were deeply ingrained in her mind. Meanwhile, Chang-soo asked his mother for permission to marry Ji-yi. Chang-soo convinced his mother that Ji-yi was a very kind and obedient girl. If he married her, his mother could easily guide her. But if she came from a wealthy family, she certainly wouldn't easily follow his mother's wishes. More importantly, he loved Ji so much that even if they only lived together for one day after marriage, he would be content. Finally, Chang-soo's mother was convinced. That night, Yoon Ha went to ask her older sister about Junki's resignation and how it related to her sales figures. Ye-won said that Joon-ki refused to merge with the China strategy team, so he voluntarily resigned. Ye-won actually felt regret for a talented person like Joon-ki. Now, Yoon Ha was astonished to realize that everything he did was for her. Even Joon-ki joining the company as a subordinate to the eldest sister was to help Yoon Ha. Joon-ki's overtime nights were to help Yoon Ha contact Chinese partners. Perhaps Joon-ki's initial intentions in dating Yoon Ha were not pure, but the feelings he developed for her during their time together were genuine. To prove that, Joon-ki did everything to sacrifice for Yoon Ha. Finally, after helping her, he chose to quietly leave. Joon-ki used to prioritize his personal ambitions because he didn't want to live a life of poverty like his parents, but now he realizes that a simple and happy family life is what truly matters, so he decided to stop. In addition, Joon-ki and Chang-soo have reconciled. Meanwhile, Ye-won still refuses to accept that she lost the game with Kyung-jun. However, this victory was predetermined from the moment Kyung-jun was born, as he was the only son chosen to be the heir. Meanwhile, Mrs. Jung visited Ji-yi and gave her permission to marry Chang-soo, allowing them to be together freely. Yoon Ha proactively sought out Joon-ki, and they later had dinner together. She was curious about why he agreed to work at the Taejin group. He shyly explained that he missed her so much that he went there every day just to see her. Yoon Ha's face lit up with happiness upon hearing this. She even teased Joon-ki, making him blush. She then curiously asked him when he started loving her. On the other side, Chang-soo expressed his feelings for Ji-yi once again and proposed to her. Ji-yi immediately agreed and the two embraced happily. Joon-ki took Yoon Ha to the hotel where they first met. He noticed her rebellious style, but she was standing in a corner, seemingly in her own world. From that moment, he probably fell in love with her. The moment the elevator doors closed, they shared a sweet kiss. A year later, Yoon Ha had become the CEO of Taejin Corporation, while Ji-yi had married Chang-soo and was pregnant. They all returned to the place where they had held their outdoor barbecue and happily ate together. Ji asked when Joon-ki and Yoon Ha would get married. Yoon Ha lamented that she would probably never be able to wear a wedding dress because the man she loved wouldn't propose. Suddenly, Joon-ki pulled out a ring and proposed to Yoon Ha. Yoon Ha happily accepted the proposal she had been waiting for. The drama ends here. Thank you for your interest and for watching. Goodbye and see you again.